The Bridge of Hands. In a village where the hills touched the clouds, a young girl named Ilara spent her days sketching grand towers in the dust. Her father, Silas, watched her from the porch, his heart swelling with a mixture of pride and worry. He knew that for her dreams to take flight, she would need more than just dirt and sticks. She would need a world he couldn't yet afford to give her. To build Ilara's future, Silas and her mother, Amara, rose before the sun every morning. They worked the stubborn rocky fields until their backs ached and their palms were mapped with deep calluses. Every drop of sweat was a brick in the foundation of their daughter's education, a silent promise whispered to the wind that she would never have to toil as they did. Late into the night, the house would fall silent, except for the scratching of Ilara's pen. Amara would often slip into the room, placing a cup of warm tea on the table. She would stroke Ilara's hair, seeing the exhaustion in the girl's eyes, and offering her own strength to keep the flickering candle of ambition burning just a little longer. The day came when the tuition for the great academy in the city was due. Silas and Amara sat at their small kitchen table, counting their meager savings. To bridge the final gap, Amara reached for her neck and unlatched the gold locket she had worn since her wedding day. It was their last treasure, but they surrendered it to the merchant without a single regret. The morning of departure was heavy with mist. At the edge of the village, Ilara stood with a single suitcase that held everything she owned. She hugged Silas tightly, feeling the roughness of his coat and the tremors in his hands. He whispered for her to look forward, never back, for her path was now paved with the love they had poured into the earth. Years passed like shadows over the hills. In the village, the house grew quieter, and the work grew harder as Silas and Amara aged. They wore the same patched clothes for a decade, and their meals were simple and small. Yet, whenever they felt the weight of their sacrifice, they would look at the empty chair at the table and smile, knowing Ilara was soaring. Far away in the bustling city, Ilara lived in a tiny room under the eaves of a library. She worked 3 jobs while studying until her eyes blurred. In moments of deep fatigue, when she felt she could not go on, she would pull out a small, tattered photograph of her parents. Their tired smiles were the only fuel she needed to keep climbing. One crisp autumn afternoon, a messenger arrived at the village cottage with a thick envelope embossed with a gold seal. Silas and Amara huddled together by the window, their hands shaking as they tore it open. It was an invitation to the capital, to witness the unveiling of the city's newest and grandest landmark, designed by the top architect of the generation. At the ceremony, amidst the glitter of the city's elite, Ilara stood on the stage in her graduation gown. When she spotted Silas in the crowd, wearing his best, though faded suit, she broke protocol and ran to him. She didn't see the grand building behind her. She only saw the man whose bent back had been the bridge she walked across. As the sun set, Ilara took Amara's hand and led her through the garden of the new library she had built. She pointed to a plaque near the entrance that bore no names of kings or donors. It simply read, "To the hands that broke so mine could build." Ilara realized then that her success wasn't her own. It was the harvest of her parents' lifelong love.